All right. Is that it? Ooh, that's some latency. Ooh, there's a lot of latency. Oh, hey, somebody here. Never done this before. Looks like there's a ton of latency. Open another tab. Maybe I can watch it and see. Ba 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 ba. Looks like there's a ton of latency. Okay. Open another tab. Maybe I can watch it and see. So how is the latency for you guys in terms of like the audio versus the video? Because there's a massive delay, but does it look like there's a massive delay between the video and the audio, or is it just between when I say it on my end and when it happens for you guys? Ba ba ba. Oh, well, if it looks good, that's good. So it's just going to take me like 30 seconds to reply to any comments or anything. Because I don't know, won't see them or something. Okay, cool. How is everyone? How are you enjoying January so far? Oh, God. All right. Just going to post a link to this on Instagram. Thank you. Back in lockdown. Yeah, I think pretty much everyone's back in lockdown. I mean, not America, but have they ever been? Just posting a link. Swipe up, we're live. This is Logic Pro. Yeah. This should just be working. Cool. Cool. All right. Live streaming. Even got all the audio working. Only took like an hour and a half. So I guess I'll make something. If anyone has questions or anything, last year I did like breakdowns of all of the different Januaries that I did last year. Like I just put it right in the video. And that was tedious. So I didn't do it this year. And I'm just doing live stream instead. So I'll do one now. I wanted to do one every week, but last week was just overwhelmed. I could turn the mic up. Boom, mic. But yeah, so I'm just going to do some live streams this one. Maybe I'll do one next week and the week after. I should honestly, just do this every day when I'm making stuff, because I'm just, in this room making stuff every single day. Mic's in the left channel only, for God's sake. OBS. Mic in, oh, it is in the left channel only. Filters, properties. Test. Okay. Test. Oh, there we go. Boom. Mono with the mic. Well, let's turn the mic up some more then. Test. There. There's some mic level for you. I will talk quietly. I think because, when you test a mic, you're like, how loud am I going to go? So I'll just keep an eye on the level there and try not to go into the red. Boom. Check. That seems like, yeah, I could talk about this level. Okay. Right on. And as soon as we start doing like audio from the computer, it's going to be a completely different story, right? Cool. That's good. Don't redline to headline. I played Webster Hall once before they closed. It was like a Zed's Dead thing. Zed's Dead and me had the same management, so I used to do shows with them. Like the first DJ set I ever did in the States, outside of South by Southwest, which is, you don't get paid for it at all, was at Red Rocks of all places, like this legendary venue. And if you don't know Red Rocks, it's like this naturally occurring amphitheater where the stage like faces up this big hill, and then there's two massive boulders on either side. So it's just like this huge thing to look up at. It's very cool. But I played Webster Hall after them one time because I used to do all these shows with them. And so I would like go open their shows, and then sometimes they would do late night after parties, and they did one at Webster Hall in New York before it closed down. And I had to close it. So I started at like 4 a.m. And there was a guy there who I'm like 50% sure was half of Slander. And he kept, like, before I started, the sound engineer guy for the show was like, just don't go into the red. I can manage it. Like, don't worry about it. Just, keep from redlining. And the dude from Slander was there, and he just kept like turning up the volume and turning up the like all night. And it was just absolutely dimed in the red, as loud as the system could go all night. And yeah, I thought he was actually working there or something. And then afterwards I found out he might have been half of Slander. So I was just like, I guess this is fine because he works here. Why would he be turning up the level like he's on stage? I don't understand. But yeah, either half of Slander or just some guy was turning up the level the entire night. And it was just like, the sound guy at the back was like, what is this guy doing? But I was just trying to be a good boy. Yeah, it's true. Shouldn't redline. I was good at not redlining. On CDJs, it's a little tougher. Like if you're on a tractor or something, it just like automatically pulls all the levels down. But on CDJs, it's, you just have to watch it. You just have to keep track of it. But you can hear it, like, because one track will be louder than another track in your headphones and in the system and everything. So you just, try to keep it all. It's not hard. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, some people just want to, it doesn't even make any sense. Turn it up louder. Like the sound guy is just going to keep it at the same level. And if you turn it up louder, it just distorts the system. Hi. So, I mean, we could do any number of things today. I've just got an open Logic session here. So I could just like fiddle around with some stuff. Or if anyone wants to look at any of the 16 January sessions that have existed so far, then we can look into those too. If anyone has questions about anything or wants to look into other sessions, I'm not going to like play any unreleased music because I keep that under my hat for now. Is there still modern EDM? I thought it was kind of like gone. Maybe that's just me. Do some pre-chorus stuff? What do you mean by pre-chorus stuff? Make a trap beat. One of the YouTube tutorials that I pulled up today to learn how to live stream had a trap beat at the start, and I was like, elbows up. Yeah, I could just mess around. I actually haven't even started today's January yet. That's one good thing about this year is the last 2 years I did this, I would wake up at like 9 and I'd probably start work by 10 or 10:30 on these things and it would like take all day. Sometimes I wouldn't be done till midnight with all the video editing and stuff. But this year is like a lot more chill. I'm focusing on like getting into a good creative mind space, which is really nice. So I like wake up and have a nice little breakfast and drink a big glass of water and then I'm usually meditate. I haven't done it today or yesterday. I forget what I did yesterday. I had some errands to run in the morning to go drive around. But yeah. I've been focusing just on the mental game of creativity a lot more this year. A low-key God. Ah, thanks. That's nice. Approach to B parts. What do you mean by B part? This is Logic. This is Logic 10. I could do this in Ableton too. I've been using Ableton for all the stuff with Andrew. But I'm just not as good with it, I guess. It's just a little bit less familiar. Do I exercise? Jesus Christ. You know what? No, that's gone by the wayside. Exercising with January is like the first thing to go. Even my morning routine is like I'm supposed to do just a little bit of cardio and some sit-ups and push-ups and stuff. And then I drink a big glass of water and then I meditate. I've been doing the Headspace Creativity Pack over and over since June. And then, there's something else. Oh, and then I journal. I do a page of journaling. That's not here. I have a little book. I just do one little page of journaling. But I haven't even been doing the exercise. Just January just kills me. I really should be, though. It's not good. The only two programs. Thank you to people saying the stuff is all very varied this year. I've been kind of letting loose. Like last year, I found that I was second guessing my creativity a lot more. But, a lot can happen in a year. Like last year, I wrote a whole song, I remember one day, about my fern. It was like an R&B love song about my fern. And then I was like, this is stupid. This is wacky and stupid. And so I just like scrapped it and started and never posted it. And it's probably just rotting on a hard drive somewhere. But this year I've just been like writing whatever, any little ideas, instrumental, lyrics, like get some little video concept or whatever. And it's been a lot more fun. I'm just trying to have more fun with it, I think, is just like the most important thing. I know that a lot of creatives like think of it as a job, and I've been trying not to do that. I've been trying to sit down every day and just like make sure I'm having a lot of fun, which is not always easy, but I think is kind of the goal. I want to be having fun. I always have trouble going from a verse to a chorus outside of a drop. It'd be cool to see how you typically do a verse build-up or a pre-chorus. Okay, this is interesting because I've just started to figure this out. I've been doing a lot of technical analysis of songs to try to figure out why my stuff isn't making money. And Why is there a logo on my stream? That's neat. I've been doing technical analysis of songs, and I've realized that the easiest way to make a chorus sound bigger than a verse is to not have chords until you get to the chorus. So like, if you listen to any of the more pop song oriented things that I've made in January this year, it's going to be like probably just bass and drums and maybe a little bit of a counter melody lead in the verses. And I've not been doing pre-choruses either. I feel like there's a trend in forward-thinking pop music right now to not do pre-choruses. It's like chorus and then maybe some kind of little bumper there, and then just go right into the verse, and then some little bumper, and then go right into the chorus. And when the chorus hits, I really like to add a chord. It kind of fills the space out, and then also something that adds some high frequency, like a buzzier thing. So if you can reserve stuff for the choruses, it makes it a lot more impactful. I made a video about that. It's somewhere on my YouTube. I think there's a tutorial playlist. My manager, who is incredible, just went through my YouTube and fixed all the playlists so they make more sense. But somewhere there's a playlist on my YouTube. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Is there a playlist? Playlists. It's one of the learning stuff. Oh yeah, there's a whole playlist for learning stuff videos just on my YouTube. And one of them is called Save the Chord for the Chorus. And it really goes into that, and it has examples and stuff. And I think it's that's a really easy trick to make your choruses better. Where was I? And honestly, I think a drop kind of does the same thing. Like, you save stuff for the drop. Yeah. To get out of a loop. One thing, or there's two good ways to get out of a loop that I've been exploring. The easiest one is to make another loop in the same key. So you make your first loop, make it sound good. And that's really important. Like, every short little bit of the song should sound great. There's a branding thing called Smashables that I really like from Martin Lindstrom. And the idea of Smashables is if you take a Coke bottle, like a Coca-Cola bottle, and you smash it on the ground, any piece that you pick up, any broken part of it should be identifiable as a Coca-Cola brand. And so, like, every piece of your song, every little loop of it should indicate, like, if you took any piece of a Beatles song, you could make at least a guess. Even if it was an instrumental part, you could at least guess that it's a part of a Beatles song. Or like if you took a slice of a Bill Wirtz video or a Nowhere video, or something recognizable, or a Rez song. People with really strong brands have really good smashables. Any little portion of the song should sound like it. But anyway, to get out of a loop, just make another loop. Make another loop that sounds really good. See how they play together. One of them might have more of a chorus feel to it. One of it might have more of a verse feel, or a drop feel, or a post-chorus or something. Like, everything kind of feels like something. And another thing that I've been doing when creating different sections is trying to, just do a little pace around the room, and just like lie in the beanbag or whatever, and just I have a beanbag. I don't have a couch. I just have a beanbag. Oh, I can't see because of the latency. Beanbag. There it is. That's my studio beanbag. Just do a little tour around and just like think of vibes. Doing the music for that Xbox game, Echo Generation, I've been thinking about just like hitting a specific vibe or like a specific energy. And like the walking around town music that is on Spotify now is kind of very like do 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 do, and just having that kind of energy is something that I come up with away from the computer. Just having an idea of how I want it to feel, and maybe even some idea of the sounds or whatever. And you can do that with reference tracks and stuff. But just like, so if you want to get out of a loop, imagine you've already got the loop. Maybe think of a vibe for another loop, something that you would want to have contrast with it or something. And just make a few loops. And I do that, like my Logic sessions are often will be like 2,000 bars long, and just have like multiple iterations of the track and multiple sections all over the place. And so I sort of use it as like a sketch pad. and then one of them, usually near the end of the session, will be the full track, and everything else will be iterations and versions and sections and variations and stuff. Yeah, so just coming up with lots of options, I think, is really good. Beethoven did a really similar thing. Like, so when he was writing the Moonlight Sonata, he would, or any piece really, he would just have books and books and books full of just written variations and options. And then he would sort of just like plug those in until it made the song. So things can go in lots of different directions. B parts, where am I? Just scrolling through these comments. Jesus Christ. Have I synthesized any cool presets lately? You know what? Recently, in the past couple of years, I've been making a lot less presets and using a lot more presets, especially since, like, I still use Massive and Serum if I need to, like, make just a simple sound or, like, a sound that I know how to make easily. But I've been using the Roland Sound Canvas and the Korg M1, which I think are both sample-based instruments. I don't know. But those two synths, the M1 and the Sound Canvas, have all those like 90s, I think even potentially early 2000s and some 80s sounds that are like very bell-oriented and like voice sounds and stuff. And you can hear it all over my stuff lately, and it's going to be all over the album and stuff. But I just love the sounds in them, and you can tweak them and stuff. Like it's like a sampler, so they're like samplers, so you can tweak them, but I just love the sounds in them. So I've been making a lot less cool presets of my own. Boop-a-doo. Meditation app. Yeah, I don't use a meditation app. I just torrented all the Headspace stuff. This is my default empty Logic session. Yeah, so I could take you for a little tour around here. This is my master output. It's got Sausage Fattener at 3%. And Isotope Ozone 5 with the Electronic Master Basic. That's my mastering chain. I'll usually put Gullfoss on it as well, because where is it? Sound Theory. Gullfoss. This guy here. Oh, God. Is this all too much for my laptop? Maybe I can't make anything today. Jeez. Oh, no, it's... God damn it. Well, I'm not going to show you Gullfoss then, because I need the iLock thing. I'm currently transitioning between two old laptops and this new laptop, and the iLock keys, I keep having to move them between, and I'm working on the album on an old one, so as soon as the album's done, I'm going to retire that old one. Anyway, quick tour around. What do I have? I have a contact instrument for my sub that I'm using less and less, so I'll probably get rid of this channel, but just contact, Sound Canvas. Oh, Jesus Christ. Everything's a little bit slower because of the streaming. The Korg M1. Oh, Sound Canvas, I'll show you. This is great. I actually have live audio too, but like, it's just... how's that audio coming through? Let's just check the audio level on this real quick. Oh, you can't hear that at all. Audio input. This is on my desktop audio. Can you guys hear that? Can you hear the audio? It's like a little synth lead from Logic. Echoing now. Oh my God. Check. Turn that down. What a nightmare. It should be working now. I got the... I'm learning a new software. Go easy on me. Audio input. Is this going to be a nightmare? Maybe we don't have live sound. Maybe today's just going to be talking. Can anyone hear that chord I just played? Anyway, I'll continue my tour around. Maybe I can't do audio. I'll have to keep trying to figure this goddamn thing out, and I'll stream again soon. Ideally, I'd like to be streaming all the time, so maybe I'll just try to make a habit of this. Anyway, Serum, massive. Logic stock sampler, just like any other sampler. I have an audio track here for recording vocals, and I use this for song length. Andrew started doing this. I just have a blank track up here, and then whatever length the song is, I drag this guy, because there's a hotkey to quickly select the locators around it. So whatever length the song is, like wherever the locator is when I hit play, doom, goes right back to the start. So just an empty track with that. I have a pre-out track that I don't usually use, but this is just to for audio references, so I can like send everything to one of these buses: drums, vocals, effects, leads, chords, bass. Oh, don't need this track. Anyway, I've got a pre-out, so I can send everything to that, and then I can send this to the output, but then I could put master stuff on the pre-out if I need to bring in an audio reference, so it's not being affected by the master. But I've never done that, so I don't know. I should probably just delete that. No chord. Oh well, I guess we're not going to have system audio today. That tutorial goddamn lied to me. I'll figure it out later. Where was I? Default empty Logic project, yes. Live stream. I can explain. I'm just trying to catch up with everyone's comments here. There's a lot going on. More than I expected. 21 people. The mental game of creativity. Yes, I can talk about the mental game of creativity. Give me 2 seconds. Let's get into the mental game of creativity. This is a discussion day because I can't figure out my system sound. Okay, so first off, I think the most important thing about doing creative work is to do it all the time. Jesus Christ, is there a better way to keep track of comments? The best way to do creative work is just to do it all the time. Whether you're depressed or you're not feeling it or you don't think that you can succeed at it or whatever the mental game you're going through is, I think that you have to do it all the time. It's the only way. Because your technical skills are going to be useful to you and you're going to build them up constantly and only get better at doing the thing. So that when you get to a place where you're like playing the mental game rather than the technical game, because I think the technical game kind of comes first. It's like the foundation upon which everything else rests. And whether that's playing an instrument or learning to sing, both of which I wish I'd done more of, or learning to produce or whatever, you have to just work at it all the time. And so when you get to a point where you're like, hey, wait, I think my ideas are getting kind of good. And you start, focusing on that rather than just technical issues of how do I do this thing. You're like, how do I put this? You're able to just create your ideas really quickly, which is where I feel like I've gotten after 2 Januaries. This year, I feel like I can come up with an idea and execute it in 3 hours. The track anyway, like any idea, no matter how weird or whatever, I feel like I can execute some version of up to a reasonable standard in about 3 hours. And then I have to make the video, which is kind of tedious. So, but the mental game that I've been playing recently, more specifically, is one of trying to, there's a priority thing with the mental game. Like a lot of creative people, you have to decide what your priorities are. Because there are certainly lots of creative professionals, in pop music specifically, who are chasing something that is very externally success-oriented. So Major Lazer puts out Lean On, and it gets 1 billion streams, and thousands of creatives in LA go, that's what we're doing now. For the next year or 2 or 3, we're going to be trying to use this formula to generate songs that make money. And I'm not chasing that. So you have to, I mean, you know, and it's not like a moral thing. Like, I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want to do. Find your success. But I'm not chasing that. I'm chasing like a self-actualization. Like, I want to make something that means something to me and hopefully means something to other people. And I feel like it's probably a longer game to play. And I know that lots of people in LA do play that songwriting game where they're just like imitating other stuff and then, you know, eventually evolve into their artist project. I just don't want to. It's just not that interesting to me. Every time I have a success, like when Clear did really well, I was like, great, let's go way beyond that now. Let's do something way different. Whereas a lot of people might be like, great, let's, you know, try to get more external success by doing the same thing, following that formula. And I'm just not playing that game. So the creative game, though, that I'm playing is like trying to, this is going to get weird real fast. I've just been doing the Headspace pack on creativity over and over. It's a 30-day pack, and I try to do it every day, but I didn't do it today and I didn't do it yesterday. But I try to do it every day. It's a 30-day pack, and it just gets you thinking about creativity as a thing to be practiced, which is kind of the game with January. Like, I'm not super practicing my technical skills anymore. Like, I'm always exploring technical things, but I'm not like, you know, learning scales and stuff. When I go and try to figure out some chords on the keyboard, I'm trying to figure out chords that are things that I understand and I can rationalize. Like, I get the theory for chords, but I'm trying to explore in ways that the chords are serving a function that is outside of technical considerations. I'm not like 1, 4, 5. I'm like, how do I make this sound rising? Or how do I make this sound sad? Or how do I make this sound like I'm walking around town or whatever? So the creative game to me has become one that's more about coming up with ideas, but not just coming up with ideas. It's like the game is to come up with ideas, but it's not by chasing ideas. It's not like I need to find an idea, because that in the meditation that I'm doing is what he would call a constricted, a closed state of mind where you're like, you know, kind of locked in and it's tunnel vision. And you're like, I need an idea. Like, I need an idea today because it's January and I need an idea every day. And I did that last year and the year before that without realizing. But this year, because I've been meditating since June, nearly daily, it's become more about how do I get myself into a place where when you're like, you know, when you're working and it's like, this is great, everything's flowing, this is fun, I'm having a great time, the ideas coming out are good, like I just made a track in 3 hours that's like one of the best things I've ever made. How do I get to that place every day? And I think that the way that I've gotten there, and the way that is suggested is very much the way that's been suggested in this meditation pack that you can torrent or you can pay for. I'm not going to judge you. Is to think less about trying to chase ideas and thinking more about just letting ideas flow around, and you're just here and everything's it's all good. I'm not summarizing this very well, but it's just like thinking about more of the long game. That song I did the other day, the Van Gogh one, is more, it's thinking about the long game. Like, if he had survived another 20 years, he would have seen himself become one of the greatest painters in history, but he didn't. And that's, you know, horribly sad and everything, but the lesson that I'm trying to take for myself is more of a long game. And just thinking about trying to enjoy the process and not worry so much about the outcomes, because I don't have a lot of control over them, and just letting ideas come and go. And maybe that's a good one, maybe that's a good one, maybe that's a bad one, but I'm not really the ideas. I'm just sort of a person, and the ideas come and go, and I'm not really attached to them. And just trying to think of creativity as less being something that I need to create or I need to pounce on, and something that's just kind of floating around. It's just out there. Like the natural state of the universe is not, it feels to me more of one that is sort of open and ideas flow and things are just kind of happening and there's a bit of chaos going on. But yeah, that's kind of the creativity game. I'm going to move on because there's been a lot of comments since that one. Jesus Christ. Let's see if I can catch up with some of the more recent ones. Are you the same restroom sounds from that William Osmond ham sandwich video? Oh, it's another person in the chat. Boop-a-doo, boop, boop-a-doo. I've not watched the Tenacious D miniseries. Search for Inspirato. I'll watch that. How do I... God damn it. Is this going to save on YouTube? Like, how does this work? I'm going to copy that right now, though. I'll screenshot it. Cool. You heard me take a screenshot, but you can't hear my logic? God damn it. What the fuck? Oh, you know what? Maybe this is it. System setting? Let's see if that fixes it. Thank you for watching January this year. Hayes Anderson. Boop-a-doo. This January has been a lot of existentialism. I think that's just kind of my natural thoughts. I'm trying to give voice to whatever thoughts most inspire me. So like if I'm thinking about AI and music, it's something I've researched a lot because I was working on a goddamn concept album that I had to shelve for my agent. That's the sort of thing that interests me. So I'm trying to like make them catchy and fun sounding songs because I feel like I can make a song sound kind of good at this point. So I'm just trying to write them about all kinds of stuff. Thank you for the compliment. Restroom sounds about Edward Normal Hands. We're running that as an ad right now. Me and my agent were like, sure, we could run an ad, but why don't we run Edward Normal Hands on some Bill Wirtz videos and see what people think? I kind of want to run them on stuff that's like not Bill Wirtz, you know, like people who would not normally like this kind of stuff. I would like to run it on like, I don't know, nothing conservative, but, you know, something that's weird. Something that's outside that world. So people see it and they're like, what the hell is this? I'm just chatting, KD Gummy. You didn't really miss anything. Style progression from ASL. Yeah, it's been a ride. I need to, the old SoundCloud stuff, the Feel You and ASL and the Jack U Flip and stuff, when I get a goddamn second to breathe, I'm going to take all that stuff and put it on Bandcamp. I'm going to put everything on Bandcamp. I just need to get the time. Vin Diesel ham sandwich was his most viewed video. Don't know what that means. Yeah, the existentialism thing, I think just makes for lyrics that I like. You know, I need to, you know, it's just, I got to keep making stuff and trying to get in touch with the creativity that I feel like is flowing around me all over the time, all over the place and all the time has led me to more existential thoughts, maybe naturally. Bandcamp plays background for mobile. Oh, that's outstanding. What am I doing on YouTube? Next time I do this, I'll probably do this on Twitch, but I don't know, just trying stuff. Are they all on Bandcamp? Oh, hey, Sarah. I guess they are all on Bandcamp. Yeah. My thought, I don't know if we've even discussed this, is, oh, Sarah Woodward there in the comments. That's my manager. She's fantastic. My thought is to just put everything on Bandcamp. I don't know if like the stuff that's signed to labels can go on Bandcamp, but I would love to put it on Bandcamp. Scroll back through some of these. God. January live stream to go through everything. I could do that. I could do it. I mean, as long as I can figure out the audio. Actually, let's jump back here real quick and see if we can get this audio. Even quietly, just let me know in the comments there if you heard that synth I just played. Yes, I'm using OBS. I'm using OBS, and Um, I Show You Live or something. Some audio capture. What the hell is it called? I Show You, I think. Yeah, I Show You audio capture is a free audio capture. There's loopback, but I'm using I Show You because it's free. And it seems to be working. Unreleased tracks from that era. I feel like everything that I finished to just from the SoundCloud era, presumably, everything that I finished to a reasonable standard in that era did come out. There's one I have. I don't think it's on this laptop. Maybe it's in Dropbox. Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever played this for anyone before. Let's see if you can hear this. Tata. No. Desktop audio, maybe? For God's sake. Okay, well, I don't think I could play system sound. It doesn't seem to be working. But yeah, I don't think there's anything good from that era that I finished that was unreleased. Everything that I finished that I was like, hey, this is pretty good, I put out because I needed content. You could do what Crane did and make a torrent of all your old stuff. Yeah, I'll do something like that. Like, I need to just go back and compile it all. And there's lots of stuff. Like, before I did January, back in January of 2014, I finished school in 2012. And so, like, the second half of 2012 and 2013, I produced a bunch of stuff. And at the end of 2013, I was like, I've got like 23 songs and it's been a year and a half. Like, I need to make more stuff, I think might be the problem. And someone told me about quantity over quality and the Kanye West thing of 5 beats a day for 3 summers. And I was like, cool, that makes sense. Quantity over quality thing is basically just the idea that you get to quality through quantity. You make and finish a whole bunch of stuff. And that's how you sort of discover your sound. And I was like, yeah, that's the advice I need right now. So I did it. I started on January 1st, and I didn't post any of these, but January 1st of 2014, and made like 72 things, I think, in that ballpark. Like, just one a day, every day for 72 days, and it was exhausting. And I did it, I was religious about it. I did it every day, every single day, which is what gave me the idea, years later for January. But I haven't posted most of those things. Like, a few of them went up, but Skyline was one of them. And then one of the first things I made after that was Islands, Waves, Caves. And then I made ASL right after that, and Feel You right after that, and the Jackie Flip right after that. Yeah, you learn through doing. That's pretty much the idea. And that's the best advice I could ever give any creative person is just do a lot of it. Like, if you take 2 people who are both music producers and one of them makes 1 song in a month and one of them makes 30 songs in a month, like, guess which one of them has made more progress? So why wouldn't you do that? I like to do things that are obviously going to improve your life. Like the morning routine thing I've got now where I wake up, obviously wake up, remember to wake up every morning, drink a glass of water, meditate for, 15 minutes or whatever. I just do the Headspace pack, do a little bit of exercise and journal. Like, there's no way you're going to start your day doing that every day and not just feel better. There's no way. So things that are like, there's no way I could do this and not get better. Those are the things that I try to incorporate as much as I can. Things that are so painfully obvious that, like, it's silly to fight about. The creators of South Park create an episode in 6 to 7 days every time. Yeah, the South Park creativity schedule is wild. It's terrifying. Every episode of South Park they've ever made has been made in a day. Oh, yikes. Deadlines are good for creativity. It's true. Honestly, sometimes with the Januaries, even the old ones, like, I'll get to a point where I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. I hate this. This doesn't sound good. I'm not enjoying myself. Less this year, because this year I'm focusing on enjoying myself. But in past years, it'd be like, 7 p.m. and I don't have a good idea yet. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so tired. I just want to stop. but I've publicly committed to making a song and posting it every day. And then I'm forced to finish it, and I might not even like it when it's finished and posted. And people will be like, yo, this one, I love this one. So there's kind of no telling. And a lot of the time you hear creatives say, and I've said this too, like the things that succeed the most are the ones you suspect the least, or the ones that you like personally the least. Scrolling back. Reverse engineering songs is good practice. I strongly agree. Christian Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Ba, ba, ba. You don't need to learn a lot of DAWs. I found, I'm just scrolling back through some comments. Someone said Christian Anderson said you don't need to learn a lot of DAWs. It's true. You just need to learn one. Like there's not really big differences between them. Between Ableton and Logic, which are the two that I know really well, like the biggest difference for me is that Ableton is kind of built for stacking lots and lots of plugins. So it's kind of built for changing sounds. And they've got some stock plugins like a granular delay that Logic doesn't really have. But Logic has loads of stock sounds that I really, really like. Like it's got, anytime I need like a kalimba or like a marimba or like a guitar, maybe not the guitar, maybe an acoustic guitar or something, or strings or something, like Logic stock instruments are like, I think it's like 40 gigabytes or something if you install them all, which I don't. And drum kits and stuff, like there's just so much stuff. But they're both fine. But the other thing is, like I know Logic really well, and I found that it made learning Ableton really, really quick. Like when Andrew posted the thing on Twitter being like, I need a studio assistant, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. That sounds like a good job for me. I like that. Like I had all the requirements except for Ableton proficiency, and there was a 2-week deadline on his job application thing. So I just spent that 2 weeks like reading the Ableton manual and learning it. And like I practiced making a few things in Ableton until it was like, cool, I know where the buttons are. And for the first like probably 2 or 3 times that I would go over to Andrew's place and like work with him on stuff, I would be like, oh, what was the word for the, I just like forget the name of Ableton's plugins and not remember where buttons were, but it was fine. It was a little tiny bit bumpy at the start, but learning one DAW makes it really, really quick to know another one. And I think, 2019, I started working with Andrew, and I started producing in Logic in 2012 or so. So 7 years of Logic, and I've found Ableton, 2 weeks could pick up without too much trouble at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a young musician should just make as much stuff as possible. My anxiety is going to hate it, but I'll try to follow your advice. Yeah, I think honestly, yeah, just make as much stuff as possible, Billy. Just make as much stuff as possible. I would say also like finish stuff, because you don't want to make like 1,000 loops. You could. I mean, I think that Bill Wirtz almost had that approach with his content, just making really short things. If you can make a short thing really good, you can make a slightly longer thing really good. And I think that's a good way to practice and do iterations really quickly. But like the January things are a wonderful exercise for me. Something that's a minute or less. I usually try to aim for a minute, but it could easily be less. Just so you guys don't feel ripped off when you're like, hey, this one was only 12 seconds. But yeah, if you could just make anything that's good and expand on that in some way, whether it's a finished song or whatever, I think that finishing something to a state that is the best you can do it at is the other part of the equation of making stuff a lot. Inspiration exists. Picasso quote, inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. That's true. Yeah, that goes with what I was saying. Charles Bukowski had another thing where he would just sit at his typewriter for 4 hours a day. Whether he wrote anything or not, he would force himself to sit there and not do anything else. Just for 4 hours a day. Whether you write anything or not, like, put in the time, goddammit. I think Woody Allen said half the job is showing up. I started out by mastering all the features on one DAW and one keyboard. Okay. Then I proceeded to just write as much as I could using them. Now I run a DAW list. Oh, that's fun. Running DAW lists is unconventional for this day and age. I feel like the difference with Bill Wirtz is that he doesn't just make some loops, he finishes short songs. Yeah, I agree. He's finishing things. Where finishing and posting it is the important part. Yeah, posting stuff is important, you know, because it, I think, puts a little flame under you to like do that, a little bit of extra work. I have a little card that someone gave me in like grade 4 or something that for some reason has just been preserved and I still have it. And it says, Jesus, what does it say? I live by this code and I can't remember it. The difference between good and great is just that little extra effort. And I think the posting stuff on the internet forces you to kind of revisit and like get that, do that extra take, or like, you know, get that melody note exactly the way you want it. You missed a tiny little bit of Bill Woods. You missed a tiny little bit of Bill Woods talk, Joey, but not much. Just about him finishing. It's in the comments just above you, if you can see those. But it's just about him finishing short songs rather than just doing demos. Too bored to east. Scrolling up. Ba, ba, ba. Oh yeah, I'll take a screenshot of this too. A January live stream where I go through everything. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that at the end of January and just like figure out my goddamn sound situation and then go through a bunch of the sessions. How many DAWs should a producer be familiar with? Oh God, yeah, okay, I understand Billy asked a question about DAWs. Yeah, definitely just one is fine. You can learn other ones if you like need them for a reason. Like if the people you want to work with all use Ableton, then it's a good reason to learn Ableton. Answered that question about using about 2012. I started using Logic at Humber. It's like the Canadian Berkeley. It's just a jazz school. Oh shit. Hey, we good? Does that mean am I back? Can you guys see me? Are we cool here? What the hell was that? Oh, good. Where was I? Do I have advice for long distance collaboration? That's a tricky one. It depends who you're working with. If you're working with another producer, it can get tricky with like freezing and flattening things or bouncing audio or whatever. But that's the best way that I've found. I mean, I know that there are, is it Splice that enables you to like just have the same session that two people are working on? But then there's, you know, plug-in stuff. That's the reason Andrew Wong, he's the job that I do with him is like an in-person job. I've been doing a little bit of stuff like promo content for his Flip app and stuff. I've been doing a little bit of stuff remotely just because of the pandemic. But like when I work on his stuff, I go to his place and go to his studio and work on his computer because it's the only way, because he's got all those plugins that I don't have. He has so many plugins. I do have a MIDI keyboard here. No chord, no chord, no chord, no chord. And we're all caught up. Okay. I think I'm all caught up on the comments. Random. Oh wait, no, there's one more here. Since you're switching laptops, have you considered getting an Apple Silicon Mac? Or do you think you'll stick with the ones you have now? Well, I mean, I've already got a new one. I'm using it right now. So I'm stuck. It's not very good. I paid like $4,000 for this laptop. And it's not very good. So I don't know what to think of that. Like, it's sweating right now. I had to figure out this whole audio routing thing. Like my headphones are plugged into the output on my laptop, but my mic is going through a sound card. Like because the fan is running so hot that I couldn't use the mic on the laptop. That's a whole thing. It struggles to render video and stuff, and it sweats when I use Logic. I'm not sure that it's performing honestly better than my 2012 laptop, but of course the 2012 laptop is going to die eventually. So just kind of jumping ship to another ship that's sinking, really. It's just, you know, you get about 6 to 8 years out of a laptop. Bummer. Do I plan on promoting the Discord again sometime? To what end? Like, I've got the Discord. There's a permanent link for the Discord on my website that I'm going to start promoting more. Yeah, I think, you know, right now I'm kind of in the midst of January, so, you know, new people coming in is not the focus. Like, new people come in because we're running some ads with some of the Januaries playing on YouTube and stuff. But yeah, periodically I'll just promote the Discord thing and get in there and stuff. I'm also going to start giving feedback on tracks, I think, because people like hit my DMs all the time being like, hey, can you like listen to this track? Give me some feedback on it. So maybe I'll do that in live streams, or maybe I'll like charge a fee or something. Because when I give feedback on a song, I listen to it like 5 or 6 times typically. And that's a dedicated thing. Like I'll chat in the DMs with people all the time because it's super casual. But as soon as someone's like, hey, check out this song, I have to like get headphones and like spend a half hour on it. So, because I don't give bad feedback, I give good feedback. I'm just in the middle of getting some testimonials from people I've given feedback to. Got one from Andrew. Can you get one from Mothika? Yeah, I got 3 damn laptops. The problem right now is, like with the old laptops, is my album is on them. So I'm stuck with them. I need to like urgently finish the album before the laptop dies. Discord's kind of, yeah, it's been kind of dead lately. I think I just need to be in there some more. Chatting, giving feedback and stuff. This month has been a time. Also, I moved. I'm in a new house now. You can tell I've got a ceiling fan. Things are looking up for me. But yeah, just there's a lot of things going on, and everything suffers for January. About the dollars conversation, I started out as a percussionist. I have a bias towards percussion other than acoustic instruments. Big limitation. I don't think it is a big limitation. You can go dollars. Doesn't really matter. I think that, you know, without the internet, that would be a big limitation. But as far as gear, like if you can perform and amuse people, like there are viral videos of people playing instruments in the street all the time. So it's really just about entertaining people. Like I feel like it's really easy to get to this place of narrow thinking. Again, this is the creativity discussion where you're like, what can I do? What can I add to the world that hasn't been done? But, you know, when you're trying to figure out what it is that you're going to try to do creatively, often you're looking at what other people have done and being like, oh man, I wish I could do something as good as, you know, Bill Wirtz or Mark Rubier or whoever, or like 6 years ago, like R.L. Grime or Skrillex or Diplo or whoever. But you just have to kind of, that's looking externally. And I think that it's a difficult conversation to have with yourself. And you're like, what can I do as good as all the stuff that's already been done? When what you should be doing is the thing that those people have done, which is like, my understanding of Bill Wirtz is that he was like, I really wish I could somehow marry my twin passions of world history and music making. And then he made the history of the world and the history of Japan, right? Like, look at yourself and the things that you like to do and the things that you want to talk about. So that's what I've been trying to aim for. But like the limitation of what gear you use, as long as you can like make something and share it with people, what more do you need? I don't think you need any specific, like you don't need a laptop. You don't need to be running the same gear as me. You don't need Logic or Ableton. Like you need a way to make something that inspires other people. Like I always thought that it's so frustrating because you could see someone who's really good at something and like instantly want to do that. You could see someone who's just the best person ever with a yo-yo and be like, damn, I really wish I knew how to yo-yo like that. Like incredible things are inspiring. So I don't think that you need any specific gear at all. Discord members. Yeah. Well, you know, Discord will grow as things grow. How is your ear picking up? Oh, jeez. My ear's getting better. Like I went to jazz school, so I did ear training and stuff. So it's, you know, my ear is better than the average bean, or average bear. What is it? Smarter than the average bear. Like it's fine. Like I could pick out chords just fine. If I sit down to transcribe something, like I'm not one of those people with like perfect pitches. Like, oh yeah, I know all the notes in that chord and I can sing them all individually. It's not that good, but it's fine. I could transcribe stuff. I don't really have trouble. There's stuff that I do have troubles transcribing, like I'm not June Lee. Like I can't listen to Jacob Collier and like pick out everything. But I'm also not trying to. Like I'm not trying to sit down and be like, what's every note in this Jacob Collier thing? I'm more of like, I'll just buy the book they made and look at the notes in it. I've been meaning to do that. It's been a long month. Spent months, day in and day out on those history videos. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing about creativity and like focusing on a project and stuff, that Bill Wirtz thing where he like worked on the history videos for a long time. Of course he did. Like every musician who's worth their salt is like spending all their time anyway working on music. Like it's already a day in and day out thing. So, you know, if you've got a cool idea and you're like, hey, maybe I'll try to make a history of the world video, and you can like dedicate to that, and you've got the practice to like make it real, because, you know, he'd made all those other short videos before. So he kind of like, it was just basically like a bunch of those little short videos and little musical stings and zappification and stuff. So he had the training to do it. He had the technical ability. And then if you're like, this is a project that I think is going to be really fun and I want to do it. If you're already working every day, you know, why not? Online jazz class is kind of boring. Yeah, probably. Jazz is supposed to be a community thing, right? And jazz classes are already kind of boring. Yeah, perfect pitch can be useful. I mean, it depends. Steve Vai says that I saw him do an interview once and he was like, you know what I do with my weaknesses? And people were like, I don't know, work on them. And he was like, no, I ignore them completely. I focus on my strengths, which is weird to hear coming from Steve Vai because he's someone that we all see probably as someone who only has strengths. When he toured with Zappa, that was the first thing he ever did. I don't know if people follow Zappa and Steve Vai and stuff, but the first thing Steve Vai ever did, he was at Berkeley, he was graduating Berkeley. He made a bunch of transcriptions of Zappa guitar solos. I've got a book of them somewhere. I haven't unpacked all my stuff yet, but they're intense. Like they are detailed. They are perfect. And he sent them to Zappa, and Zappa sent him back an invitation to fly out to LA and try out for his band. And Steve Vai would tour around with them, and they did, I think it was called Steve's Challenge or something, where at the end of the show, you're at the show, you can show up with sheet music, any sheet music at all, and bring it to Steve Vai, and he will play it at speed right in front of you. Just sight read it perfectly. So, you know, we all see him as someone who's only got strengths, but he just ignores his weaknesses. And so we don't see them, you know, like, can Steve Vai change a light bulb? Like, I don't know. Doesn't matter, because he focuses on his strengths and does the things that he does the things that, you know, he can do really well. And we're all very impressed by that. The most high profile musicians I've met. I met Steve Vai. I have his signature. I went to a Steve Vai show, and I came out the front door and someone was selling these posters for like $10. It was very, very cheap. And I was like, sure, I'm going to get this, and then I'm going to go wait and get Steve Vai's signature. So I got the thing, and I waited in line, got up to him, and I was like, probably going to remember what he says to me for the rest of my life. Because I was like, 19 or something. And he goes, is someone selling these? Where did you get this? But he signed it anyway. I don't know. I met Dweezil Zappa. Dweezil Zappa gave me a guitar. That was fun. But, in DJing, I've met random people, A-Track, and I did some shows with the Chainsmokers and stuff. History of Japan is a flex to make something like that. It's so intense and fast-paced, but also so long. Really holds your interest. It's it's got all the virtues of micro content, but is also 20 minutes long. Rick Beto ear training course. Yeah, you can only, taking an ear training course, any kind of intensive study thing is probably going to be useful. I would recommend anything like that, as long as it's a fairly credible person. I don't know Rick Beto, but as long as it's any kind of credible person, studying your training, whether you do it by yourself or have the external motivation of a course, do it. It's going to make you better. I got Ableton recently, but I didn't realize how expensive all the plugins were. Yeah, plugins are expensive. Do you need stuff like Serum or Massive to make cool instruments? If not, do you have any advice? You don't need them. Does Ableton have a wavetable synth? It must. Don't just get Massive. If you're going to spend some money, it's all so expensive. Jesus. It depends on the sounds that you want. You could watch tutorials. What I would say is check out some tutorials and do some research if you're trying to figure out what plugins you want to get and you're on kind of a budget. I actually have a production video. It's 24 mixing tricks or something. And that one mentions a lot of my favorite plugins that are free or cheap that are really, really great. I think some of them might cost a little bit of money, but most of them are free and cheap. And those are good to start with if you're looking for advice from me. But watch some tutorials. The thing about Massive and Serum is that they're both incredibly well-liked and commonly used. So it's easy to find tutorials where people show you how to use them. And so that's an easy place to start. I use Massive all the time. I like Massive a lot. I like it more than Serum, honestly. And the other thing is you can get lots of good presets for them. You can go on Splice and download Massive and Serum presets and then reverse engineer them or just use them. Excuse me. But I think that I forget what it's called, the wavetable synthesizer in Ableton, but I would check that one out. And it's Ableton. Everyone uses Ableton, so there's going to be tutorials on that. It probably won't have the same wavetables it's not going to have the same wavetables as Massive and Serum. So you're not going to probably be able to make the exact same sounds, but you'll be able to make a lot of great sounds with it. And if you're seriously on a budget and you want to make sounds, I would recommend starting with the stock Ableton synths. I started with the stock Logic synths. I don't like a lot of them, but it's kind of the same idea generally. I have perfect rhythm. When I was at jazz school in Humber here, I thought I had really good rhythm, and then we had a Brazilian drummer come in and do a master class in the auditorium, and he was like, repeat after me, and he claps a rhythm and everyone repeats after him, and I was like, this is fun. I live for this. I'm so good at rhythm. And then he did a slightly longer, more complex one, and just the whole room fell apart. Everyone was like, oh my God, what was that? As soon as you start to dive into rhythm, it's such a world that is so poorly explored in Western music anyway. My understanding of Indian music is that where Europeans were harmony, chords, melodies, in India, they were we'll just have a drone and we're going to have one scale for the whole song and we're going to focus on the rhythm. So I took some Indian rhythm lessons from a tabla player called Ravi Nempali here in Toronto. Whew, man, it's deep. It's a deep world. And the T-high is the takita 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 takadimi takita takadimi takita takadimi takita takadimi takita takita. Oh my God, how does this? It's been years since I did this. Takita takadimi takita takadimi takita takita takadimi takita takadimi takita, and shifting the accents and stuff. God, it's such a world. There's so much good stuff to practice. So that's a 7. Takita Takadimi is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Takita Takadimi is 7. And then Tadingenitom is 5. Paradiddles. I'm such a bad drummer. I have a little drum pad and drumsticks, but man, I just wish I had more time to sit down. If I could like clone myself and then merge all the clones, that would be fantastic. And one of them would just like literally spend 24 hours a day just drumming and practicing rhythm. You just got an ad for my channel. That's outstanding. Was it Edward Normalhands or was it something else? I mean, to your point there, Hayes Anderson, Zappa himself said that he would not be able to pass one of his own auditions. He was also like kind of ruthless. There's a lot of accounts of people talking about their Zappa auditions. One guy was like, man, I went in and they were like renovating his studio and it was so distracting and I failed, and then begged him for a second audition and then went and got it. And Zappa was like, or Steve Vai went in and did his, and Zappa would like play a thing and be like, cool, add a note here, cool, add a note here. And he'd keep playing the thing until eventually it was just like impossible, like technically, physically impossible to play. And Zappa was like, I hear this like, this other person's looking for a guitarist, but it was like a really condescending, like this is going to be simple music, but then got in the band anyway. But he was like very sarcastic and stuff. A meter away from Lewis Cole. I did 3 shows with Lewis Cole, or with Noah anyway, with the 5-piece in Gothenburg, Sweden, and Copenhagen and London in the UK. And I thought it was their duo show when I agreed to do it, because their manager reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, love Noah. I'll DJ to open for Noah's duo show, like the electronic one. That'll be sick. And then it was the 5-piece like jazz band with Sam Gendo and Sam Wilkes on bass, and then the keyboard player was rotating. It was a different person that they picked up in each city. So in Sweden it was Jonah Nilsson of Dirty Loops, and it was like so sick. Such a legend. I actually got to walk around Gothenburg chatting with Jonah Nilsson a little bit, and yeah, lovely guy, wickedly talented. At one point Jonah Nilsson and Lewis Cole switched instruments, and Jonah Nilsson, who doesn't play drums, played drums, and Lewis Cole played keyboards, and it was very, very cool. And then in Copenhagen and London, it was Dennis Ham, I think. Dennis Ham plays keyboards with like Flying Lotus and stuff. Also a fantastic keyboard player. I stood behind Robert Fripp at a small King Crimson dress rehearsal. That's cool. What made you want to pursue EDM production out of jazz school? And have you produced any other genres? Okay. 2012, I'm finishing jazz school. It had already been a couple of years since I was like really, really practicing. In first and second year, I was like practicing like, 8 hours a day, probably 6 to 8 hours a day for long stretches of time. And then I started to kind of lose passion for it. I was like, man, like there's so many other good piano players here who are just like way, way better than me. I don't know if this is necessarily for me, which is a tough decision to make, but just because you've made a mistake doesn't mean you should keep making it. So I was casting around looking for other stuff to do, and I got really into film scoring. There was a film scoring class, and I was using Logic to do film scoring. And so I pursued that pretty aggressively. I was looking for student films and ads on Craigslist and junk like that. And did a few things and got a little bit of money, but then I was like, man, working with directors sucks because they don't know anything about music, and so it's just frustrating to talk to them. And then I was like, I could probably succeed on my own, honestly, because I think my music is better than the films it's being put in. So my success is like limited to them, limited to the success of the films. So I decided to start making my own stuff and putting it on SoundCloud in 2012, because I was also listening to Skrillex at the time, was like just blowing up because it's 2012. And Madeon had put out Icarus, and that was kind of it for me. I was like, whoa, this is sick, because I hadn't heard of Justice yet, because I was listening to other stuff. And I was listening to Rusty, because Glass Swords had just come out the year before or so. And so I started to do that. Have I produced any other genres, though? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm not sure what the hell I do anymore, honestly. Like one day I'll be writing a 19th century romantic piece, and the next day I'm like writing a song about Edward Normalhands, and so I kind of jump all over the place, genre-wise. But as far as like, it's all electronic music. It's all pretty much the same thing. Like I'm in Logic doing stuff. Sometimes I'll write at the piano and then come over to Logic. Ableton stock synths cost money? That's bullshit. I didn't remember that. I bought Ableton years ago, and I've just been upgrading since then. That's bullshit, though. Oh my God. I'm trying to keep up with these comments. Conical, I've never heard of that. Screenshot. Every good recommendation I get, I'm just screenshotting. That question, Chris, about starting with rhythm, is that for me or for Hayes? As soon as I hear anything from outside the West, like from South America, Africa, or India, I'm immediately alienated by unfamiliar rhythms to my British ears. Yeah. It's so fun to listen broadly, though, because there's just like, it's like trying to learn a language that's not European based when you know English only. Is like, man, I tried to learn Cantonese for months and months and months. And I know a couple words in Mandarin, but like, it's in those languages, it's not the like letters, like it's not the word that you say, it's the tone of it. And so there's like rising and falling tones and 3 levels of pitch, but it doesn't really conform to pitch in the way that musical pitch is. It's just higher or lower. I don't really fully understand it. And so basically, as a result, I can't say any words because I'm always saying them wrong. Like always. It's just such a different approach to language that I am unable to figure out how to say the words at all. And especially, I think it's like the approach to pitch, because I do music stuff like all the time, and because it's not the way that I think of pitch, is like double difficult. Like when I try to play Guitar Hero and I just suck at it because it's not like playing a real guitar. Vinnie Colaiuta. Maybe it was Vinnie Colaiuta's Zappa audition, the one where they were like renovating his studio. That sounds kind of vaguely familiar. Yeah, I did 3 shows with Nowhere. That was fun. Their manager reached out to me. I don't remember why. Oh, we had a common friend. We had a mutual friend, Mingja, who she arranged the strings for the live version of For a Second, and she arranged and recorded strings for a song on my album too. That's incredible. Mingja's incredible. And so she knows Lewis because they did a jam session together here when Nowhere came through the first time, and they played at the Rex because they're kind of in the jazz world, and Mingja's like incredible. She's an incredible vocalist. So we had a common friend, and I think that's how I got in touch with Nowhere. And then they invited me to do some shows. And I was just having a great time. Nowhere did a great show every night. And I was like, man, I'm just DJing. I suck. This isn't like entertaining at all. And that was in 2016. And I started rethinking everything. And now here I am with a new album that's slightly more entertaining. Figure out a live show that's entertaining too. I can't sing very well yet, but I'm getting vocal lessons. Yeah. The London show, I'm pretty sure nobody was at any of the Nowhere shows for me. It was, yeah. But then like years later, I know that shortly after that, they did some shows opening in Mexico for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I remember years after that hearing an interview where Lewis was like, nobody at those Red Hot Chili Peppers shows wanted to see us. And that's how I felt at the Nowhere shows. When I listen to other people's music, am I subconsciously analyzing it? Sometimes, it's, if I feel like it. Actually, this year is the first year I ever smoked weed, or last year because of the pandemic. Like 2 days before everything locked down, Kim broke her ankle climbing. She just fell on it weird. And a friend of ours brought us some weed, and yep, start smoking weed. But the point of that is that it helps me listen to music. It doesn't help me. It's not help, but like it allows me to not think about music, even my own music, when I'm listening to it. And so I use that a little bit to listen to my music when I'm too close to it, and it gives me some perspective. But I certainly can if I want to. And sometimes I'll notice things, just be like, oh, that's really cool about this song. Let's go back and listen to that again. Or I'll pick up things like that. But yeah, I feel like when you ask if, like, are you always analyzing music? I feel like there's kind of a subtext where it's like, can you enjoy it anymore? Like, has your understanding of it? But it's only deepened my appreciation for it. Understanding music better and better. So I would like to add a little addendum there. Back in the 90s. Film scoring in the 90s, god damn, that would have been pretty different. Hayes Anderson, in the 90s when you were doing film scoring, what was like the software? Were you using software, or was it just writing? Was it like a USC type thing where it's like writing and working with string players? Because I know, like, you know, digital technology was coming out, and like the Amiga and stuff with the video editing with like the box wipe and the star wipe and stuff. All that stuff was like kind of new, and MIDI was around a little bit. Was it a software thing when you're doing film scoring, or was it like writing and working with actual musicians? Writing for and working with. So I know this is kind of off topic, but explain Trash Panda Crew. What inspired that? Loved it. Well, the whole EP as a whole. Thank you. The Trash Panda Crew thing, I'm writing music based on what they tell me to write. And so here, actually, give me a second. I'll just pull up the spreadsheet and see what it says for Trash Panda Crew. I'll just search my email for raccoon. This is going to take too long. I can't find it quickly. The inspiration was like the title I think was Hip Hop Raccoon to start off with. And they wanted a 90s sort of hip hop energy to it. And so I just did that. I was vaguely inspired by, oh, God damn it, what's that Tupac song with the piano sample in it? I was vaguely inspired by that kind of thing. Some things will never change. It's just called Changes. I'm totally blanking on the title right now. It's going to be like his first song on Changes. It's just called Changes. Was kind of what I was thinking when I brought in the piano on that one. But actually, the original version didn't have the piano in it at all. I had to extend them just for Spotify. So when you play the game, there's no piano section at all. It's just the hip-hop part. But just like those West Coast like sign leads and like the hip-hop drums and a little bit of bass was the Trash Panda Crew vibe. What do you think about lo-fi in the sense of making minimalistic music with not much bells and whistles in general? Lo-fi is a strange little world. Let's have a real quick but very intense discussion about lo-fi music. Lo-fi, I think, first off, is a reaction to the overproduction of dubstep and trap that was happening in 2014-2016 EDM bubble. As that popped, lo-fi springs up as a reaction to it because we know things are cyclical and things are reactionary. And so I think, you know, everyone was tired of like, how loud and heavy can we make this? And just wanted a goddamn vibe. And so that's kind of where I think lo-fi, and, you know, lo-fi music's been happening for years, but, you know, it takes the right time for things to take off. And so lo-fi kind of fills that. Now, the thing about lo-fi, when you listen to a Spotify playlist, there is a conversion rate. So if you listen to, you know, global top 100 or pop hits today, or I don't know what they're called, Rap Caviar is one. If you listen to those, there's a conversion rate. And what that means is at a certain ratio, for every 4 songs you listen to, say, one of them you'll click through and go listen to more of the artist. And I think that ratio is somewhere between 4-to-1 and 8-to-1 typically. But with a lo-fi chill beats to study and focus on your work to or whatever, the conversion is more like 400-to-1. And I think that this opens a discussion of music as utility rather than music as art. And I made a video recently, a January video, talking about that. And AI music is coming on the horizon. And I think that that music kind of plays into that a little, because I guess there's just lots of people who make it. It's like, it's weird because future bass was super oversaturated, but people got sick of it quickly. And that's happening with hyper pop right now. But lo-fi music is just like kind of rumbling away in the background. People are always listening to it. I use it. I listen to it. It's chill. It's nice. Why fight the zeitgeist? But I think that it changes the discussion about why we make music to one of being focused around the end user's experience of like, I just need a playlist of goddamn music to have in the background to focus on my stuff, and I don't care who made it and it doesn't matter to me, rather than, listening to an album by an artist. And so who knows where it's going? Have I seen Whiplash? And if so, what did I think of it? I saw Whiplash. It was fine. It was intense. I didn't know anyone like that in jazz school. I knew people who were like really good at their instruments, but nobody was like, killing themselves to making their hands bleed or anything. Jazz school was generally pretty chill. It was fine though. It was a movie about less about music and more about like self-destructive obsession. Oh, is that what it's called? The teacher that I had, Ravi, just called the Indian rhythms T-highs. So, Taki Tataki Dimi. Vinny's was a massive cattle call of all kinds of musicians. Oh, yikes. That's too bad for Vinny. Vinny's amazing, though. I mean, it doesn't matter how his Zappa interview went. He's great. If you're great, you're going to stand out. Awesome being live. This is fun. How long is it? It's been like an hour and a half. Where's the goddamn timer? I don't know how long it's been anymore. My stream is healthy. Got good reception. Next question. Noah's manager is lovely. Elise, yeah, she is lovely. She's just wonderful. Every so often she'll comment. We send stuff back and forth sometimes. She sends me musicians that come to her sometimes. Just to listen to or to connect with or whatever. Yeah, Noah's manager, she's great. Yeah, I think she's really active with her social media, Elise. I see her commenting a lot. We used Performer, one of the first DAWs that later became Digital Performer. God, I haven't even heard of it. I've heard of that, but I've never used or seen it. 3 Akai S1000 samplers. I forget what software we used to make the track. Yeah, the first DAW I ever used was Cakewalk Sonar in 2007. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I'd look at I/O and be like, my guess is in out, but I have no idea. Like, I had no idea what I was like, I didn't even know about MIDI yet. I was like, I had a keyboard. I still have the keyboard, same keyboard. I would just plug in the audio and record audio takes into it. Like a maniac. Yeah, old software is a nightmare. Yeah, Trash Panda track, chords in the chorus. Yeah. Can't fight the formula sometimes. Hey, Alex. I'm just catching up with everyone. I'm so slow here. I can't wait for the no genre to become popular. By no genre, do you mean like genre hopping, like 100 gecs, or is there a genre called no genre? Is that a thing? Jesus Christ. Because the genre hopping thing, I've been meaning to make a learning stuff video about it. Genre hopping is like such a thing right now. And you could see it like you can see it slowly percolating. Like you've got 100 gecs now mixing everything, but like before that, it was like, baby metal or like Avicii doing country music. I remember one time, 2012 probably, there was this DJ starting a label in Toronto called Jed Harper, and I had a mutual friend with him. And so I would go over to his place and like work on production with him, and I was just learning production, so he'd show me DJ stuff and like production stuff, and I would show him music stuff. He's the, I don't know what he's doing now. He's the house DJ for the Rogers Center where they have all the Blue Jays games downstairs. It used to be the Sky Dome where the roof slides open. He's the DJ there, or was. I don't know if he still is. Hope he is. But Jed Harper, anyway. Jesus Christ, what was I saying? I totally lost my train of thought now. Chord to the chorus. No genre. I'll just go on to the next question because I forgot what I was saying. It's super weird talking to a group of people where you can only read what they're saying and you have to talk out loud. Early punk recordings are lo-fi as well. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you just look at lo-fi as being like a production aesthetic. Guided by voices. Screenshot. Last year's January inspired me to try making January myself. Sadly, I only made it to January 8th as exams in college are pushing away all the free time. Yeah, that's fair. I wouldn't have been able, I could never do January while I was in school. It's too much. The whole time I was in school, it was just like, give me the information and I'll write it down and figure it out later. And I still have boxes and boxes of papers that I go back to every so often to try to like pick up new things. Just collect information. It's impossible to keep up when you're in jazz school between all the classes. Which ad did you see, Rafa's studio? Was it the Edward Normal Hands one? I think we're running a couple videos right now. Some of them are more useful than others. 3:30. How's everyone doing? I only lost my train of thought once. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm still working with Andrew. It's a little slow right now because he's having a kid real soon. And there's a global pandemic on and we're under like lockdown. And usually when I work with him, it's in person, but like he sends me stuff every so often. Like I made some promo videos for his Flip app. The one with the spider, the not so incredible man spider. Yeah, I'm still working with Andrew though. It's just, there hasn't been too much lately because it's supposed to be only in-person work. When I go and work at his place, I work on his computer with all his UA plugins. All the plugins that I don't have. I go work on his computer. But yeah, we're still working together. It's just slow at the moment. Are you still working with Andrew? The one with the spider. I'm really excited for your new album. Thanks, Chris. I'm excited for it too. As soon as January is over, like I'm going full tilt into I have a whole content schedule, but it's like learning stuff videos and album promo, and we've got a bunch of promo photos and stuff. There's some music videos, fortunately funded by Factor and the Canadian government, which is lots of fun. Thanks, Canada. I've been listening to New Laces like a million times, biking through nature on winter days. Oh, I always think of it as a summer album, but that's sick. I'm glad you like it. Dangerous Kitchen. I think about Dangerous Kitchen all the time. For anyone not familiar with Dangerous Kitchen, it's a Frank Zappa song. And if you want to see where Bill Wirtz got his idea, I would be amazed if he didn't get his idea from Frank Zappa's stuff like Dangerous Kitchen. The whole thing, that whole thing where it's like the sun is a deadly laser, and you just kind of like say something as though you're singing around your house, and then you like score what you've sung. That's called Zappification. And the Dangerous Kitchen is a prime example of that. I went to see a couple of years ago with a friend of mine. We drove down to Rochester from here. It's like a 3-hour drive. We went to see the Zappa hologram tour. where like old members of the band plus a hologram of Frank Zappa play some old Zappa songs. And I've seen the Zappa Play Zappa band with Dweezil. That's where I won my guitar. But Dangerous Kitchen, they play Dangerous Kitchen with the hologram tour, and it's so good. I love that song. In the dangerous kitchen, if it's not one thing, it's another. The bananas are black. They've got flies in the back. And also the groceries, is it? I don't know. It's ridiculous. Dangerous Kitchen. Highly recommend. See you, Hayes. Thanks for stopping by. If you're still here, you're probably gone. By the way, push your idea earlier of having feedback streams. Well, it's good because I feel like that would be a good way to get through a lot of tracks, clips in bulk. It's true. I was also thinking about selling feedback because then I can make a little bit of money off it and give good feedback too. The one problem with doing a feedback stream is it would be so slow because like Andrew sends me tracks for feedback a lot of the time. He'll just like send me an email and be like, hey, I'm like mixing this track. Can you like listen to it and like let me know if there's anything that sounds off, or sometimes it'll be like, do you have any creative ideas for where this could go? And so I'll listen to his tracks and come up with creative ideas or give him feedback on what it sounds like. But I listen to them like 5 or 6 times just back to back. It takes like, it adds up. It's like a half hour. And if I did that as a stream, like I could do like 3 songs in the amount of time that we've done so far. How long has this stream been? Why doesn't it tell me this? Oh, there it is, an hour and a half. Yeah, I would have gotten through maybe like 3 to 5 songs by now, or given bad feedback. So I'm thinking about just charging $20 for it, because I don't want to price people out, and it's it's not that much of my time, and I can slip them in at night or something. But it's just difficult for me to be like chatting with someone and they're like, hey, could you check out this song? And I'm like, shit, like I got to go get headphones and like spend time on this now rather than just like chatting. So I'm thinking about the feedback thing. Feedback streams, I don't know. I like to give good feedback, and it takes me like 5 or 6 listens to really like hear everything. Does it take you multiple listens for a song to click? Chris, do you mean one of my songs or somebody else's songs? Ugh. Also, I'm probably going to wrap this up in a couple minutes because I need to make a song today. It's like 3:30. I haven't started yet. So I spent my morning eating breakfast and figuring out how to stream. Oh, right. There's a goddamn lag. You probably can't even. Waiting around. Favorite Bill Wirtz song. Do the History of the World ones and the History of Japan ones count? Because those would be top of the list because it's so wild. But like, man, I Don't Want to Go to School. I really like. It's not on YouTube anymore. I don't want to go to school because I'm stupid. Love that one. And hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage. Sing that all the time. Somebody else's song. I find sometimes I don't know if I like a song. Okay. It depends on the song. Some songs are easier than others. But the songs I think that challenge me are the ones that I end up liking the most. Like the first time I listened to Flying Lotus's Cosmogramma album, I was like, not ready. Can't do it. Don't get it so much. And I like liked it, but it was like almost too good. I was just like, I can't right now. I can't deal with this. It's so good. Like, how could someone make something so good? Because it came out in like 2012, and it's like, it's wild. And 100 Gex also took me a few listens to be like, oh yeah. But now I like Jammed a Money Machine and all of them, really. It's such a good album. I'm planning an album breakdown, like a song breakdown, but for the whole 1000 Gex album, because it's just so good. Ugh. But then, sometimes the Michelle stuff is a really good example of something that's an easy listen, but is also really good. So some stuff is, one listen. It just depends on how challenging the music is. I always need at least 2 listens. Usually I could tell if something is vaguely interesting on the first listen through. Yeah. Depends on the song. Some stuff definitely, will draw your attention the first listen, but then, might not hold up over time. The Childish Gambino album was like that. I listened to it the first time. I was like, this is wild. But then, it didn't really stick with me. Or the Grimes album, I listened to it maybe like 15 times, and I was like, I think this might be... The first time I listened to it, I was like, this is underwhelming. And then I listened to it a bunch more, and I was like, this might be really good. And then I was like, just kind of stopped listening to it, and haven't gone back to it. So it depends. I think I'm going to call it. I got to go make a song. Thanks everyone for being here. I'll try to do this more now that I've figured out how to. I'll figure out how to get the audio going so I can like fool around and make stuff. That would be so much better. I don't know how long this leg is, so I'm just going to say bye everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining. Let's do this again sometime real soon. I'll try to do this again next week. How does that sound? Yeah, cool. Yeah, gonna go make a song. Have no idea what it's gonna be, so we'll find out in a few hours, like 8 hours probably when I've edited the video and eaten dinner and everything. But I'll try to do this again next week, Saturday or Sunday. And I'll just post about that. I'll try to make this more of a regular thing. Thanks, guys, for being here. Have a good Sunday. Peace. Now I look for the end stream button.